you want to start?
Yes, we're back again with a special guest. This week we've got Aiden, who plays Ravonaar Solus, previously Ryan.
Heyo.
Heyo.
So we had a pretty eventful session. Who wants to do the recap? Aiden, you keen on doing a recap?
Not really, no.
we cut that. We cut that bit where he says that.
No.
We cut that.
That just means he doesn't care about our campaign.
Don't have the usual snow recap to look back on. It's
Well,
it's been rough.
nobody. I stopped doing those ages ago, and nobody said anything. So I thought, oh, okay, it probably didn't matter.
What do you mean?
that
We
much.
said it like the session after. We said it.
Really? I don't remember
Yeah.
anyone saying
Yeah.
anything about it.
We did.
Yeah, everyone was
100%.
like, "Hey, where's the snow recap?"
Where's the recap?
Albert, do you remember?
I remember.
But are you just saying you
Look,
remember?
it's around the same time I started doing the recap, just myself, like at the start of each session. So
No, it was before that. It was way before
Are you
that.
sure?
Yeah, it was way before that. It was at least like 5 weeks before that.
Okay, yeah, then I don't remember. No, I don't remember then. Huh. Well,
Yeah. I mean, I could do a recap. It wasn't too much that really happened.
that was like, yeah, 2 things that happened. that
Yeah.
was it, really. Probably less than
It
that.
wasn't that big. It's just long combat.
Okay.
Take it away.
That was the big thing. That
Take
happened.
us away.
Alright, so we started off. We had a little bit of a backtrack with the session before, so we started a little bit behind, I believe, where we were still walking into back to the Spider Queen.
Yes.
And so we had a little bit of role play there. I don't remember too much of what happened there. I was a little bit absent with the conversation. Ravonaar wasn't interacting too much with the captives.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
mostly because he couldn't, right?
yeah. Well, yeah. No Elvish.
yeah. Yeah.
Makes it a bit difficult.
Just
But-
on that, we had a discussion as a group to resolve this translation issue, how we were going to go about that. What did you think? Do you think it was an improvement, or it was just about the same? I felt like it was about the same, but I think there was less translating in general, like purposefully.
Yeah, I think it felt about the same, but mainly because there wasn't much translating going on. There wasn't a lot of talk between characters that could speak Elvish and characters that couldn't. So it just felt roughly the same. But I think when it was happening, it felt better.
Okay.
I think it was the same. It's just that we're much more mindful of it, right? Like instead of just saying, "Oh yeah, we're just insta translating," we're actually having people do the translating in character, and that was the biggest difference, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think when it was happening, it definitely felt better. It just didn't happen as much. There just wasn't as much translating. Which would happen in real life too. Like you would avoid conversations between characters that can't, or between people that can't talk language and people that can. Like they just wouldn't interact as much.
Yeah, like the whole Storm did the recap, right? Like in character, and then the 2 elves were like, "Yo, what the fuck is this guy? What's this guy talking about?" Yeah, it's a cute interaction. So the whole purpose, or at least in my headcanon for that, is that they're garnering like maybe not respect, but like what's the word? Like the reputation, right? Like the 2 elves, they're like, maybe these guys want to help us out. Did you guys as characters, were you a little sympathetic towards their cause, or were you just like, ah, fuck these guys?
I think Ravonaar was a little bit like, he still had a job to do, and he's all about, going with the flow, and it's all about the journey. It's all about this is his journey, this is their journey, this is what's supposed to happen. It's just how it is. So I don't think he had too much. I don't know how to explain it. Like he felt sympathetic, but it was just how it is, basically.
Oh,
That makes sense.
so Ravonaar's maybe not as good as a guy as we think. Like, if like someone was like drowning, like in like a pool or something, would it be like, I guess that's just the way it is,
Well, depends on the situation. So and I think it comes down to a bit of a feeling, I suppose, where is it their time to die? Is it is that part of their journey? So with Radalak, that was his way. That was that was his time to pass, and that was okay. That's why he wasn't too mad or upset about it.
How does he know though?
Yeah, how does he make the distinction when and when not? Someone
That's
needs
a
to
good
die?
question.
Is it just
I
like
don't know.
you're kind of an old man? You look like it's time for you to die.
Well, Radalak
Well, I
was
mean-
murdered, so
Yes, but he was murdered while he was doing his duty. Like, it was in the line of duty.
Okay.
Like, does that sort of make sense? So he was performing a ritual. It was a dangerous ritual. He knew the risks going into it, and it wasn't necessarily because of the ritual, but he was doing something that he loved, that he believed in, and that's okay.
Yeah, I guess that I can kind of see that. But what if it's like a stranger? Like how do you know? Like how does Ravonaar know like this person either deserves or doesn't deserve to whatever fate they're being served?
Well, that's
It's part of the
I
yeah.
well, yeah, it's part of that whole thing. Like, I don't necessarily think he would intervene
Oh,
with a stranger like that. I think Tokul certainly would. And I know that when we went down, we started heading underground, there was that dwarf that he intervened with. And to be honest, I couldn't tell you why. I think it was more of me trying to just have a bit of fun with a spellcaster that I've never played before.
right.
But I think roleplay wise, he wouldn't necessarily have intervened like that.
Oh shit.
so you'd say your character is more like accepting things for the way they are and trying not to change them too much because that's the way they're meant to be, or the way Ravonaar thinks they're meant to be, right?
Yeah. So I think it's just go with the flow type of philosophy, type of mentality. Yeah.
I think that is something you can use against him, Albert. You can challenge Ravonaar.
Yo,
And
like
that
when
challenge is
when one party member dies, isn't it gonna be pretty fucked up? Like Ravonaar's like, I don't know. It seems like it was kind of his time to die, sort of thing, or is it just like, all right, I'm just gonna revivify you because game.
Well, I mean, he's not against it. It's just he wouldn't necessarily go out of his way to intervene. If so, back to that stranger scenario, if he saw someone on the street dying, he wouldn't necessarily do anything to intervene because that's how it was. That's how it is. It's their journey. Their journey might be ending there.
Damn. Like even if it's like just this abrupt ending. Damn, that's kind of cold from Ravonaar.
Yeah, well, the party is all about intervening and getting in business that isn't necessarily their business to get into. What would
Yeah.
Ravonaar think about that?
The party is, yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean Ravonaar has to have a guiding hand in that.
Whoa.
Okay, but that kind of implies that Ravonaar's like a passive character. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, fine. So it's like he'll help out if that's what the party decides. He'll go along with the party in that regard, and do what's required of that. Do what's required of that task. But he's not necessarily going to go out of his way to intervene with something.
Okay,
Damn.
speaking strictly in like a gameplay perspective, because what I might foresee is that you might think, oh, I actually want Ravonaar to be a bit more proactive. Would you be fine changing that attitude? Like, we don't have to like make it a story thing, but like it's like, oh, this is actually not as fun as I thought it would be. Would you be
Yeah,
open
I'd be happy to
that?
change it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's like low key. That's kind of edgy. Is Ravonaar edgier than Ryan? Damn. Like
I don't think
that's
it's that
just
edgy.
the way it is, It's not maybe not edgy, but it's like a cold cold-ish take on the world. I don't know, like, do you think there would be like some event in the future where Ravonar's like, hold on, this is kind of fucked up, I should probably stop this, or is everything just part of the flow?
100%, because you have to remember that Ravonar's, what did we decide he was, like 11 or younger than that even, like 8 or something?
Aarakocra's are pretty young, yeah.
So he's quite naive in that regard. Like, he hasn't had a lot of experience, he hasn't had a lot of events to shape his mind, his philosophy. He's just joined this religion, and he's both feet in with this religion, but he hasn't had a lot to shape how he's going to go about supporting it and delivering that message.
Damn. So like hypothetically, if Ravonar was like walking down a street by himself, and you see like a happy family man and walking down the street, he's got like bread in his hands, like a grocery bag in his hands, and he gets like mugged and stabbed to death on like the sidewalk. Ravonar's like, you know what? I ain't got nothing to do with this. Is that what we're saying here? Like,
yeah, what if he like survives and he's crawling on the pavement,
and he's like, help,
and you're like, oh, I could help him, but then he gets run over,
Jesus, by like a carriage.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they're asking for help, does that change things? Does that mean that they're requesting assistance in something? And I think Ravonar would assist in that regard.
Oh,
so only if they ask for help. Okay, I feel like, Albert, you should save these for like.
No, these are definitely. That hypothetical is definitely not going to be a hypothetical later on. That's so interesting. I didn't actually know there was this kind of like coldish side to Ravonar, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's still sort of being fleshed out because it's still new, and I'm still working out how he thinks and how he acts. But that's sort of what I had in my head regarding him.
Okay.
Where it's very go with the flow style.
Okay.
I mean,
all right, let's move on.
I mean,
oh, what? You had a moment? Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, sure. We'll go back to the recap. But I was curious, like, what does Ravonar like think of the party, right? Like why is he? Like, I don't know. Like, are these people cool? Are these people assholes? Like, I know he's going with the flow, but like, I don't know.
He hasn't seen too much to think that they're really assholes just yet. Really,
just yet.
Nothing's really happened since he's joined the party to make him go, these guys are assholes.
Well, we kind of slaughtered a bunch of elves the last session. What do you think of that?
I mean, there was definitely hostility there, and there was definitely a protective, we've got to protect ourselves type of situation. So that's not really an asshole move. We didn't really just go in and attack and kill everyone.
That's true. Okay, yeah. Okay. Like, like going with the flow, right? So self-preservation kind of goes against that, right? Like, what if it's your time to die and you don't know that yet?
Not necessarily. So, have you seen what is it? Dwayne the Rock Johnson, he plays Hercules. I think it's just called Hercules. There's a character in that where he knows that he dies by arrow fire, and every time he sees arrows flying towards him, he's just like arms out, like, is this my time? And it never is, right? But he still fights. He still fights to the death for that sort of stuff. And it's just, if he dies, he's not mad about it, So Ravonar will still fight, and if someone gets the better of him, that's how it is.
Oh, okay. So he's just very accepting of his own fate as well, and other people's. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's interesting. We're definitely gonna explore this at a later date for sure.
Yeah.
This is definitely gonna come
insight.
back.
New insight.
All right.
Write it down.
Please continue with your recap, sir.
So we get back to Spider Queen with our two captives, and present them to her, and then there's just this a lot of staunching going on. There's not a lot of words that are spoken between Spider Queen and everyone else. I think the two captives request to be have their feet untied or something like that, and then they try and talk, and there's still no response, and there's weapons drawn, and there's all this other bullshit going on.
Yeah.
And it just felt like a very locked-in scenario. Like, that's what was going to happen. There didn't feel like there was a lot that we could do to get out of this combat.
Yeah,
That's true.
Is
yeah,
that
I
fair
could
to
I
say?
could see that. Yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that definitely. To be fair, yes, that was probably always going to happen. There was absolutely no way that making a deal with the Drow and getting away with it scot-free. I guess yeah, that could have been roleplayed a whole lot better. I think mostly because the in my head at least, the Drow Matron Mother was pretty much set in her ways, and that the two twins, well, they pretty much knew what was gonna happen, so they went along with the flow pretty easily as well. They were fine getting captured and whatnot because they absolutely knew what was gonna go down. Yeah, I guess that is my bad. There should have been some more roleplay between Spider Lady and the rest of the party, and not Spider Lady, the twins, and then there's this barrier from the rest of the party. Yeah.
It just felt awkward, I think, particularly from a character who couldn't speak Elvish, just standing there, hearing one side make sounds, and the other side not make sounds, and like you could clearly tell there's tension, but there's not. You have no understanding of what's going on roleplay wise.
That's fair enough, yeah. Yeah, from a character perspective. Kevin, do you agree?
Yeah, I mostly agree that it felt a little pigeon-holed. And I think for a race that you wanted to seem like was always had the dagger behind their back at all times, I think maybe it could have been... Like, I was expecting something a bit more subtle, like, okay, they lead us on, we're halfway to the Citadel, and then they just, like, jump us halfway, or something like that. Or there's some other thing up their sleeve, other than just straight up attacking us like that. Which,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if they're gonna betray someone, they need to, like, get something out of it as well, instead of just for the sake of doing it.
Absolutely, we're gonna take the Oathbreaker.
The other side of it, I think, the other way you could have gone about it was had a little bit of back and forth between either party characters that could speak Elvish and the Matron Mother. And then in that process, as they're talking and they're distracted, you could have the Drow sort of start to surround the party instead of just barring the doors, and that would still feel more natural and still feel like you've got this threatening presence around you, and that you are slowly getting into a more dire situation, but still feel natural at the same time.
Yeah, that would be a nice way to approach it. You're right. Okay. Honestly, I absolutely agree, right? But I think the situation was kind of locked in as soon as Snow said he had half of the Oathbreaker, and that the whole goal was to get this legendary artifact. And I guess I should have really communicated this more clearly, but as soon as something like that happens, in my head at least, the Drow Matron Mother, she'd be more inclined, or she'd rather bring back the Oathbreaker than, suffer the wrath of Lolth and killing her guests, I guess. I don't know, yeah, that should be communicated a lot more clearly, and that's definitely my bad on the DM side. Okay, I guess it's notes for the future.
Yeah.
Okay. And, hold on. I don't think betrayal's, like, off the table, like, yet. I mean, like, shit is still going down, and, the Drow aren't out of the picture quite. Well, they seem out of the picture, but who knows, right? Who knows? I don't know. Yeah, okay. Sorry, please continue.
So, in this situation, we've just untied their legs and everything. They're having this conversation, and then I can't remember who shot first, or who initiated. I think it was Snow who cut their hands loose.
Yeah.
And it was from there we rolled initiative.
Yeah.
And started the whole situation.
Well, I think they were approaching us first, right?
Well, the guards were
coming
slowly
towards-
approaching,
Yeah.
and Snow saw the signs, the pictures. He's like, all right, I guess we're doing it. kind of deal. So yeah, it was more on their side.
We absolutely body that fight.
It felt pretty. It felt. We definitely felt like, or I felt like we had like we were dealt the underhand to start with, and we were losing to a point. And then there was a couple of rounds where we just annihilated, and then we were on top of everything, and we were good to go.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think it would go that easily. Like I was like, huh, everyone's dying really fast on my side. This is kind of wild. Like, holy shit! Like, the Ravonaar was doing a whole lot of damage.
Yeah.
Who else was like the MVP?
Kenji got 3 criticals.
Kenji got 3 crits.
We had a big fireball from Maple that did a lot of damage.
Toko doing Toko things. Snow was doing snow things.
That Toko, what he was gonna initially do, I felt everyone face palming. That was
honestly, yeah, well, I missed it. What happened there? I was just listening to him. Everyone was like, "What the fuck are you doing, Toko?" Like, that sounds like not a bad idea.
So, Snow's first move was to cast Panache or Panache, which is basically Panache, right? Let's say Panache, which is basically you usually cast it on one big baddie, the biggest baddie, and Snow casted it on the Spider Matron. And basically, what that does is it's like drawing aggro for tanks, but it has disadvantage to all attack rolls against your allies except for Snow, who was the one who casted it. So you're like drawing the aggro, but if the allies attack it, or if a minute goes by, it turns off. So I think the next turn, or like the same turn,
it was So it was the same turn. So you hadn't even gotten an attack with Panache.
Yeah. So, and then Matt was going to have Toko breathe fire on the spider. And I don't know, we kind of developed this culture where we don't tell each other what we're supposed to do during combat. So everyone was like kind of looking, and then I was like, okay, I need to nudge him a little bit. So I started saying, "Yeah, Toko, remember, I compel you to remember."
Yeah, a lot of loud pigeons, a lot of loud birds in that combat, huh? A lot of backseat gaming going on. I don't know.
To be fair, it was like 10 minutes before I casted that, or maybe not 10. I'm not sure actually, but it was the same turn.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say that he was well in his bounds to remember that.
It was the same turn, and we had just discussed what Panache did and what not to do. Yeah. We were like, it does this, don't attack the spider lady.
Yeah.
And then he attacked the spider lady, or went to attack the spider lady, and we're like, mate.
That's very Toko, you know? Honestly, I'm kind of 50-50 on this, right? Like it would be something Toko would do, like in character, and I think this is the separation that we get a lot of when we do combat, right? Where it turns into this completely different tactical game, and then like we cut out all the like role playing aspects, and I think something like this just takes away from it even more. But it does feel bad, you know, like getting your plan wrecked because someone wasn't like paying enough attention or whatnot. I don't know. I think I was gonna force Toko to do it, but then everyone was like, oh, blah blah blah. I was like, all right, whatever. Toko hasn't breathed fire yet. He can do whatever he wants. I don't know. Do you guys feel the same? I mean, obviously.
No, I don't feel the same. Honestly, if he was gonna say, oh, I do it anyway because I feel like that's what Toko would do, okay, fine. But if he was intending not to do that, then I think you shouldn't be too punishing on a player that, you know, everyone forgets, right? Everyone has those off days where stuff just goes in one ear and out the other ear. And I think excusing that for, you know, Matt being forgetful, therefore Toko is forgetful, I don't think that's a good translation of how you should, a good interpretation of how you should go about it.
But that's how he is, right? Toko is Matthew, and they share a lot of the same traits.
Yeah, but if you go off that regard, where we've just like Snow's just cast panache and gone, don't do this. Like this would have, like he would have been like, I've got aggro, like I've got her attention. In game, that's less than a second, right? What is a turn? 6 seconds. You're not going to forget within 6 seconds.
That's a fair point.
Toggle has a lot of Matthew in him. Doesn't mean he's one-to-one Matthew, and we should take everything Matthew is and put it in Toggle. You know what I mean? Unless Matthew, you want to confirm that, you want to get in comments and say yes, he's 100% me through and through, then I take it back.
I don't know. I still don't necessarily agree with it. It's definitely, well, if someone forgets, it's kind of on them, right? And even if that's detrimental to the party, it's still on them. You guys should talk about it afterwards, after the combat. Be like, hey, what the fuck? We had this plan.
Oh, we 100% would have.
Yeah, but instead we're just kind of like backtracking, reversing things. And I'm on the fence on this one, honestly. I could go either way. I don't know. Yeah. It definitely make the combat a lot harder. Or, I mean, it's just different. And that would have been interesting. But still.
I think I would have been, if you had made Tokul do that, I would have been fine with that as well. We were just in the process of that whole thing. I was just face palming because we had just spoken about it. It would have made sense to me if you had made him go through with it because he'd said it. That's what the character had done. I would have been fine with that. But I was just, yeah, that was my reaction.
Yeah. Kevin, what did you think about the nudging? Do you think that's an okay thing to do?
I think just the specific circumstances, as Aiden pointed out, wasn't too long after I made the move. It was the same exact move. So in game, it was literally everything. I would assume that every turn in game happens almost simultaneously.
Yes.
So he would have definitely seen that. And I think it wasn't until recently where we started, and we didn't intentionally start doing this. I think it was after the strategy rule. No, I guess it was intentional. No, I take it back. Where we, were trying to not do that. But I think, yeah, I just think it was really needed for this round. I didn't want Matt to embarrass himself and everyone to get pissed off at him, for forgetting the small thing. So yeah, I'm for it. I think for this time, I'm for it. If it keeps happening, then I guess that's on Matt, right? You can't really change that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I personally just felt like there was a lot of backseating going on that combat, at least for a few characters, and I don't know. I'm personally, sometimes it's okay, other times it's like, yo, dude, just let the other guy play their character, let them do what they want.
And also, we didn't start the strategy thing on the first round. We didn't have like a strategy thing. I think if we had the strategy meeting, like the minute strategy meeting, and then he still forgot, then we would probably be on your side of it, because he definitely should have known by then, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So,
but that definitely happened like after the strategy meeting as well, where someone was trying to do something. I forgot who it was, but then someone else was like, "Yo, what the fuck? What about the plan?" I don't know. It's like it's not something you can call out either.
What specific moment was that?
I can't clearly remember, but I definitely remember there was a lot of pigeons in the background after the 1 minute strategy session. Yeah, I don't know. It's not something you can call out during mid-combat either, because that kind of disturbs the flow. I don't know. It's hard. We should probably talk about it again before the session as a group, about how we go through combats from now on. I don't know, it's not a big problem, it's just something to discuss, honestly.
I think if we stick to the minute discussion, and then that's it, and whatever happens, we can discuss it after. I think that's going to be the best way to go. I do remember a bit of chatter. I can't remember even if it was me regarding making comments. I try not to. Like I might sigh or make a noise, and that's on me. I should mute myself when I'm not talking. But I definitely try not to interject and say things to them, because I know I did that when we first started and copped a bit of flack for it. So I definitely tried to not do that. But I do agree with you. But I do remember a bit of chatter going on with regards to some
Yeah.
movement
yeah.
specific. I don't remember what it was either. But
Honestly, I'm probably the only one who finds it a bit of a problem. Everyone else is probably fine with it. But you know, it's just something more to think about when you guys are playing. And yeah, well, I guess I'll bring it up at the start of next session. I'll talk about it again. But yeah. Overall, I think combat it went pretty smoothly, right? You guys fucking destroyed those those people. I thought it would go a lot more difficult because I don't know if it's because you guys have a sixth character now. I don't know if it's because of the context, because you guys had like 2 allies in this combat who honestly didn't really do that much. I don't know. I don't know. Did you guys? Was there some kind of synergy that just kind of clicked going on, or what the fuck happened where you guys just destroyed this combat like easily?
I think just fortunate rolls. We had 3
was
crits. I hit a lot more hits than I normally do. I normally miss a lot more. And I rolled well on damage too. And I think everyone rolled well on damage, and Aiden was on top of his spells and their abilities, and they were doing shit tons of damage.
Yeah.
I think there was a fair bit of there's a fair bit of utility to clerics that we just haven't had either. So like not having to roll to hit and that sort of stuff is quite good. I was lucky that all the enemies that had to roll dex saves failed them, and we got the full 60 within 3 hits of that Guardians of Faith.
Mm.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of utility and damage that clerics output that we just haven't had previously.
So it's just more of like a balance thing now, right? Like there's a lot more like magic, and you guys also have like an extra fighter, an extra martial class in the mix. I don't know. Yeah. Like stunning strikes, so fucking good, dude. I don't know, Kevin. I don't know. Your
No, I changed my mind.
opinion.
I changed my mind. It was good. It was good. It was
Yeah.
good. Monk was good that round.
It's kind of crazy.
I'm starting to change it around. He's hitting them. He's hitting them.
So was the combat too easy? Would you guys like combat to be a little more difficult in the future, or is that kind of difficulty level something you guys enjoy?
I personally thought that it was enjoyable because we were kicking ass for once instead of getting our ass kicked.
Okay. Aiden?
Yeah, I think I used to be on the fence about more difficult challenge, like being challenged was where the fun got out of. Maybe I played too much Dark Souls or whatever. But in D&D, especially when the combat goes for hour, 2 hours plus, it's probably not that fun to, you know, be rolling shit and then getting your ass kicked and all of that.
Okay. Aiden?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I was definitely expecting more of a challenge, and I think I was a little bit worried at the start because I was at least down on spell slots because I was just throwing them around doing wacky shit because I can.
Yep.
So I was a little bit like, ooh, like this could go a bit south because I had like 4 or 5 slots left, and I was like, ooh, that's not a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
But it ended up okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing with like like casting classes, right? It's very hard for me to balance encounters around like 1 encounter a day where you guys have all your spell slots and whatnot. What I like to do, and what you guys know I like to do, is that I like to sort of maybe not weigh you guys down, but have like a bunch of small combats, maybe like 2 or 3 small combats, and then maybe a larger one at the end, so that you guys actually need to think about resource management. And do I really want to cast my like 5th level spell here when there could be something like some kind of greater foe down the line? Like it's I don't know. It's been a different way I've been approaching it, because I used to just do like 1 big combat, and then there's a long rest, and then 1 big combat, and then the long rest. So you guys are always fresh for the next one. And honestly, it kind of worked for a while, and then after a while I was like, I'm not the biggest fan of this. Like, there's no really like thinking going on. Everyone just kind of throws the shit out like the window. They use everything they can, and then because they know they're gonna get a long rest like right after. I don't know. Do you which approach do you guys prefer? A bunch of small ones and the big one, or what?
I think the having to think about it is definitely the better way to go. Like I said, I was throwing shit around because I was playing around a bit.
Yep.
I think later on it'll be a bit easier to manage it nicely because I will have had my fun with random encounters and stuff like that. But I think it's definitely the better way to go, to have a bunch of small encounters and then a larger encounter to keep people on their toes.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily in that order, because then you'll get used to, we're going to have like 3 encounters and then a big one.
Yeah.
So I'll save everything for the big one. But yeah, you just never know if you're going to have to save something for later.
Yeah, that's the message I want to communicate, right? Well, like
Yeah,
like I could use everything now, but who knows like what's next, right? Like that's like, because before everyone was like, all right, yeah, easy, long rest, hit it up. But now it's like, oh, I don't know, there could be something else. Like we might not be able to secure a good place to rest, just and whatnot. Yeah. Oops, Kevin, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a good principle to keep the players on their toes. There has been a lot more combat in the recent sessions than before. I think just because of the place we're in right now lends itself to be that way. Yeah, I don't really have any strong opinions on it. You know how I feel about combat in general. But yeah, I did feel like this one was one of the more fun ones I've had in a long while in terms of combat, just because it was all up for the party.
Just kicking ass, huh?
Yeah.
we also saw a little bit of snow utility as well. Like it wasn't just shoot and hide.
Yeah, I'm actually using my class. I'm not being a dumbass about it anymore.
I think that was good to see.
Which is thanks to Albert for looking into like the options. He messaged me after the last pod about looking into or not, maybe like a week or so ago, about what tools I could use and that I haven't been using, because I always thought panache was bad, but it's actually good. It's actually really good.
Yeah, I don't remember why I was looking into people's classes. I was just like, I think I was just curious, like, what can you guys do and what can you guys not do? And I saw panache and I was like, this is really good. I wonder why he never used it. So I just messaged you. But yeah, I don't know. I think every hero likes feeling like a hero every now and again, right? Where you just destroy people in combat, where you're like, oh yeah, we're actually pretty strong. Like we're actually like a level 10 party of 6 people. We should be able to destroy a bunch of things. And obviously that's all good and fun. But I do want you guys to remember that, there's some shit out there you guys still probably can't handle yet, and it might be coming up. So don't get too excited and think you're indestructible, because Well,
I think that there's value in having a good mix, right?
Yeah.
Because if combat's too easy, then it gets boring. If it's too hard, then it just players start dreading
it doesn't feel good.
So if you have the like ebb and flow, where it's like difficult, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's just down the middle, you strike a good balance there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for, where this combat would be like the hard one, where everyone's like, oh shit, it's kind of hard. Just, holy shit, you guys are strong. Like,
yeah, maybe down the line you'll have like, oh, this combat, they should be able to breeze through it, and then it ends up killing half the party. Maybe you'll have encounters like that as well. You never know.
Yeah, balancing is weird, especially now that there's 6 people. Like, it's very hard to get like a 6v1 situation where it's even, because obviously action economy and whatnot. Like unless it's a legendary creature who has legendary actions or lair actions or whatnot. But if I do like a 6v6, then combat gets bogged down like it did in this session, where it takes 2 hours, and because I have to roll for fucking 6 characters and they need to move around in different places and whatnot. And I think this is only like exacerbated by the existence of the battle map, right? What do you guys think about that? The paint battle map, is that too much, or is that
It's fine.
it's fine?
Yeah, it was okay.
It's a lot of, I personally think it's a lot of extra effort. Now I'm just like, oh fuck, I gotta move these pieces around, and I gotta fucking erase and add these things. I don't know. I
think it's a temporary thing.
It's a band-aid.
Because when we have it in person, like we can be in charge of the map, and we're who goes where.
Yeah.
You can just tell us where.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll try and delegate that to somebody if they're feeling up to it. If someone else wants to do the paint shit, because it's hard for me to keep track of all this shit as well. I don't know. I personally, and sometimes it's just too hard. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta remember where fucking 6 people and like 12 people are. I don't know. Whatever. All right, let's continue, I guess. Unless anything else wants to say anything about combat.
No.
All right, let's go.
What's next, Aiden?
Well, that was the nuts and bolts of it, really. So we finished that. We destroyed. There was a bit of chitter chatter outside of that and harvesting of everything, as you tend to do.
Casual.
Apparently. And then there was a little bit of a heartfelt conversation between Storm and Tiz. Is it? Miz?
Yes.
Storm and Miz, and Snow and Tiz.
Yep. There's a bit of love in the air.
Yeah. Little bit of tension. Sexual tension.
Mm-hmm.
Did that make any of you guys uncomfortable?
No.
No? Okay, good.
I was fine with that.
That's to everyone, by the way. Everyone who's listening, let us know if if that makes you uncomfortable of any sort, or like that makes you feel weird. We can talk about it, But I think everyone was, generally comfortable with the situation. Okay.
Yeah, it was fine.
Okay.
It was good to see some personal interaction.
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I have a question for Aiden. There was one point where we had, was it the captain? The captain was still alive, and Snow tried to kill her by beheading her, but he couldn't because it hit like a bone or something, and then he stabbed her in the heart. And then Ravonaar said, "Hey, there was an easier way to do that." And just going off what you said before about Ravonaar, being this very green character, this very acceptance, go with the flow character. Well, what made him speak up like that?
Well, I mean, I don't think he was ever going to stop you from killing them, but I think it was just very unnecessarily brutal. That makes sense? Like, it could have been done cleaner. Could have been done better. Like, you didn't have to, like, attempt to chop a head off and not succeed in it.
Yeah. I can see that, but Snow's way is to cut people's heads off, because that is the clean way for him, but sometimes it doesn't always work.
Yeah, well, it definitely didn't work this time. I think if it had gone straight through, nothing happened. Like, Happy Days,
it normally does.
Like,
I didn't even get to roll for it, but Albert says it doesn't work, so it didn't work.
Yeah, you don't roll for it. It just happens. That's right.
Yeah.
I think my headcanon at the time, or what was going through my head, was that I don't think you guys actually tied this person up. They were just kind of standing there. So obviously they're going to try and resist their death if they can. Most other situations where someone's either accepted their fate, someone who's straight up about to die, or if they're bound and they can't do anything else about it, then it'd probably be a clean cut, right? At least that's what I was thinking.
Well, you said specifically that it hit a hard part in her neck.
I said specifically she tried to definitely grab at the blade with her hands.
Okay, I didn't hear that. I heard that you said that there was a hard part. Whatever. It's fine. We got the job done eventually.
Yeah. I mean, what else happens that session, right? Like, you guys get a bit of loot, and you say your goodbyes, right? Is that the gist of it?
I think so.
Yeah, we get loot. There's a lot of like talking between Storm and Miz about Storm trying to get with Miz, and Miz is, he's got like this reluctance going on about him. We travel. I think we grab the spider head and we travel to the armory. That's where we get the loot. Actually, that's where we get the loot. We get the instant fortress and a suit of armor, a Mizram armor. No, that's what's it called?
What's his name? I did. It's called Mizium armor. And I honestly did not count on that being so similar to the guy's name.
There are a lot of like similarly confusing names in this campaign.
I know. Fredgar and Fredgar.
Fredgar, Ravonaar, Ravrum, Mizram, Mizium.
I mean, Ravonaar and Ravrum, they're intentional, for sure.
I know it's intentional, but it's still confusing. It doesn't change the fact that it is a little confusing.
It initially intentional.
What?
So I was name generating the name just to get a few ideas, and like the second one was Ravonaar. I was like, that'd be a nice little like family resemblance.
Oh shit! I thought you did that intentionally. God damn. Okay.
No, it just came up on a name generator, and I was like, well, that works nicely.
Huh. A happy coincidence. Okay. All right, Kevin, you called Aiden onto this podcast. Is there's some shit you want to talk about, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah?
I just wanted a guest on, and we hadn't had Aiden in a long time.
Oh.
I thought it'd be fun for him to come on.
Oh, then I'll ask him something.
Yeah.
Aiden, so last time we had you on, you were playing as Ryan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel there's a giant difference between playing as Ryan and playing as Ravonaar, at least enjoyment-wise?
I think there's a lot more that I can do now, particularly because Ryan was very combat focused, so there wasn't a lot of utility, or there wasn't a lot to be done outside of combat. It was just very, when can I get into the next combat? So I think there's a lot more to be done now in terms of setting spells and preparing spells that can be used in different situations and using them a bit more creatively. So I think that side of the gameplay is a bit more fun now, especially because of how roleplay heavy everyone is. It's a bit better to interact that way.
Okay. Yep.
So like the best example would be using tongues on Storm last session or the session before, whatever it was, so that you could understand everything. So the intention of that was, you've got your most persuasive character who can't talk, can't do anything to these characters because they don't speak common. So I was like, we should prepare something so that he can interact, he can persuade.
Oh, okay. Roleplay wise, do you find it more enjoyable playing Ravonaar, or it's just the same?
Yeah, I think so. I think so for sure, because I came into it with a different expectation, so the character is set up with a different expectation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's less edgy, it's more, he's more fun and carefree, and so he's less, it's less combat focused.
Yeah, he's less constricted by his personality, right? I feel like Ryan had a lot of restrictions placed on him purely because of his creation, like his background.
Yeah.
That stopped him from doing a lot of fun stuff, but I think this character has a lot more freedom in that aspect.
Yeah, and I think being as young as he is as well, there's a lot more room for growth as well.
Okay, we're gonna get some character development arcs in the future. I see you. Okay.
Yeah, do you feel like you had a more solid idea for who this character is, whereas I know Ryan was your first character and your first, entry point into D&D in general, so can't expect a new player to know fully the inner workings of their character. Do you think that you had a more of a foundation to work off with this new character?
Oh, 100%. I knew more about what their intentions were and what they wanted, and everything that guides them, as opposed to what I did previously. So it's a lot easier to build off of that than it is to have to retrospectively build it.
Okay. Yeah, I think being able to build a character from prior experiences makes it a lot more enjoyable. And Snow is Kevin's first character, right?
Yeah.
And you don't ever feel like maybe now's the time to change him? You never wish you could play someone else like straight away?
No, not particularly, because I don't feel like his story is over.
Okay.
I don't feel like his story within the campaign is over yet. I also think that changing party members too often kind of breaks the cohesion a little bit, like in terms of roleplay, in terms of like the narrative itself. I mean, people do what they got to do. Like if someone's like straight up not having fun with their character, then by all means go ahead and change it. But I feel like there needs to be at least like a little bit of consistency within the party. And I have fun playing Snow right as he is right now. I think he's in a fairly good spot.
Yeah, because we talked about it before, where I think you would say you would rather change your current character than just completely build a new one, right? Because that's happened before.
I don't know if I said that exactly, but it really just depends on what you think is right. It depends on the person. If someone thinks like, oh, okay, well, I don't feel like I could realistically change the character without breaking my own immersion or without making some major changes that would lead to further immersion breaking. Like, maybe it would be cleaner just to go for clean slate, get a new character. And I feel like Snow's gone through some pretty big changes, but I don't feel like he's gone through like changes that were like he's gone completely 180, you know. He's still got a bit of the old Snow in him, but he's rounded out a bit more.
Okay.
I think a big part of the change from Ryan to Ravonaar was that I just didn't feel like there was much further you could take Ryan. I felt like it was just in this eternal cycle that was just going to continue, in that, you know, he's being chased by Ubania, he kills them, he gets chased further, he kills them, he gets chased further, he kills, like there was room for a bit of growth in terms of what he believes and everything, but I didn't feel like he was ever going to escape that.
Yeah, that's a fair point to make. Like, it wasn't adding too much in the narrative sense.
At least not in the short term. I mean, I feel like there is a story there, but Definitely. It's not until like very long term that gets fixed. Like, obviously Ryan's doing that now. Like, I feel like Ryan jumped to the end when you change characters. I feel like, because if he doesn't want to be chased anymore, then he's got to like nip it in the bud. So he's got to go back to Ubania and fix whatever he has to fix back there. And that's what Ryan is doing right now. So I mean, there is a point. There is like a story there, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It's way too long term for that to be any fun for you.
Yeah,
it's in the distant future. Yeah. Did you think the sending interaction was cute, Aiden?
Yeah, it caught me off guard, for sure.
Man, the party. Yeah.
But I definitely like the idea of it in the future. And I'll have I'll prepare a bit more for it in the future. But I think there could definitely be some sparse interaction here and there between Ryan and the rest of the party still.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was adorable. I didn't think the party would be that lost or that sad over Ryan's departure. But every time someone brings up Ryan, everyone's like, "Aw," and that's adorable to me. Do you think? Sorry, go.
Who knows? There might set up a one shot when someone can't make it, and we'll have, you know, return of Ryan.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, do you think in the future, it might not even be a one shot, right? Where if the party just for some reason decides they need to go to Ubania for something, there's gonna be like a Ryan arc where he comes back again. And would you rather you play Ryan and like Ravonaar is just doing something else at the time, or would you rather be Ryan be this kind of this badass NPC who's going through a lot of shit?
I don't know, honestly. Yeah, hadn't thought about it.
Okay.
It'd be fun to go back to DPS. It'd have to be a pretty combat heavy arc though, because he would be back to DPS focused.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, like, I don't know what could happen. Like the gang goes to assassinate the God King or whatnot. Who knows? That'll be fun. I don't know. That's in the far future. Aiden, what do you think of the campaign as a whole so far? Like, is it good? Is there things you would change? Like, do you have any suggestions or anything like that?
I think it's come a long way from when we started. I think there's a lot more of a balance between the role player and the combat. Like, I mean, when we first started, there was like you'd go 10, 12, 15 sessions without any sort of combat or any sort of conflict at all. and then you'd have that one session of combat, and then it'd be back to 10, 15 sessions of nothing. So I think we've got a nicer balance of that roleplay combat now,
Yeah.
where it's like a little bit of conflict, like still majority roleplay, but just that little bit of conflict here and there. And I definitely like that change from when we first started.
Okay. Okay. Honestly, I didn't. That's not intentional at all. I didn't think about that. Like, I feel like 10 or 15 sessions is a bit of an exaggeration, right? It wasn't like that, was it?
It was pretty sparse.
I think it was getting close to. I think we would go. I think the upper end of it would be like 10 sessions. We'd go without combat.
No.
But it would feel longer because 10. I feel like I do remember one time we went 7 weeks without combat, and it felt like we were gone 15 weeks without combat, because 7 weeks is almost 2 months without ever seeing combat. So I think the time between sessions stretches the perception of how long we have encounters between each other.
Do you know when this was? Was this like the Huria arc?
Yeah, I think mid-Huria arc, beginning of Huria arc. That's when like the combat started to get a bit more sparse, and I think also in like the Trident arc as well. But
Yeah,
I think
I felt like it was definitely more Trident.
yeah,
More Trident?
Mm.
I don't remember this at all, to be honest. I thought I honestly thought there was a good balance going on back then. God damn. Was it like after Weird Water, or like before Weird Water? Like
I think it was kind of like during.
during Weird Water?
yeah, it was probably mid Trident arc to mid Huria arc. That's like the span of the sparse combat era.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. So I mean, for the Korokine, there was combat in there too. So I think before that, I think at Weird Water there was supposed to be combat, but obviously, that didn't pan out as anybody thought it would.
Well, we're not saying that there was no combat. It's just that it was.
It wasn't
a lot
as
rarer.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you guys prefer one combat per session?
No.
No, I don't.
Oh God,
no.
no.
I think we've got a nice balance where it's like every 3 or so there's a bit of combat, or even if it's just there's just conflict. I think it's not even doesn't have to be combat even, like it could be initiative for one turn or something where there's a bit of conflict there. But yeah, every few sessions is nice to have a bit of that side of things.
Okay, so it's not exactly combat, just like drama or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just more stuff happening.
Yeah, I feel like we could have a bit less combat, just with what we have right now. But yeah, we don't have to go through huge stretches of time without combat. But I honestly don't mind if we don't have combat that often. I feel like the story has slowed down a little bit because we've been having so many encounters in general, where it's just been largely combat, and then the story moves on a little bit, and then we have another encounter shortly after that. So I think you're definitely right when you said way back when that it'll be like 10 to 15 sessions before the Huria arc properly ends. We are definitely meeting that goal as far as I can see.
I told you. I don't know. Like the last 3 sessions, there's been combat every session, right? Is that
Mostly,
correct?
yeah.
And does that feel like too much currently?
For me, yes. I feel like it slows down the narrative a bit too much for me.
Okay. Because there's
Depends.
yeah. Okay, go.
I think it depends on how big the combat is.
Yeah.
Like you can have smaller encounters that don't take up much time at all.
Yeah. Because the Froghemoth one in particular, that one went like pretty speedily, right? That was like a 20 minute combat or something. Because that thing just got fucking destroyed, and you guys slaughtered it and took its eyeballs or whatnot. And so stuff like that is probably. Would you guys prefer some more of that as well? Just like
Yeah, I'd
very
be
tiny
fine with that.
encounters. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the kind of stuff that eats up, like maybe a spell slot or 2 or whatnot, and makes further future combats harder. And more exciting, I think. Okay. Any other suggestions or things you want to complain about but don't have the voice to, but now you can?
No. I think we're going okay.
Oh,
Not much that on top of my head that I can think of.
Being too nice. There's definitely
no.
something in the back of your head where. All right.
No.
No.
I mean, anything I've wanted to voice, I've voiced during the session.
Okay.
So like,
Hey, this is free speech. The land.
Yeah,
this is free speech
this is
land.
where you can drop
say
bombs.
anything.
You're in a
You can say
B-52 right now. You
anything.
can do whatever you want.
man, I drop bombs during the session.
That
That's
is
the
true.
thing.
That is true. This man don't need a platform.
Like, I'll give you the example of when we had the Myconid encounter, and we were interacting with the little baby one, and I was interacting, but there was a little bit going on, and then Storm tried to jump in. I was like, hang on, no, back off. I'm doing this.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Okay, that's a
Like-
bomb. All right, keep going. Elaborate.
Yeah. Fuck him up. Fuck him up.
It's not even a bomb. It happened during the session.
Fuck you, Lewis. Yeah.
Oh.
Nah.
No, and that's a good example, like, because I know you're talking to Aiden, AK, about if you want to butt in, you have to stick your foot in, you have to butt in, you have to voice
that's
yourself,
true.
because otherwise you get lost. And that's a good example of that, where if I just backed off, I would have lost that encounter or that interaction for myself, and that might make me a bit salty. But I voiced myself, and I put my foot in, and I got that interaction back. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean that's just like general social skills in general, right? Like
Yeah,
good
true.
social skills.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying the campaign is perfect and nothing needs to change, right? Right?
Well, I'm enjoying. I also don't have a reference point, so
Perfect.
you're talking to the wrong person about things that
expectations.
need to change.
Kevin, do you agree with that? It's perfect and nothing needs to be changed?
Oh, I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's pretty good.
Oh shit.
I think it's pretty good. But just going along with the, trying to butt your way into interactions, I think also, even though I say, yes, be proactive, but I think for the more passive characters, not that they're being intentionally passive, but that they don't have a space to speak up, I think we should also try to involve them, like actively involve them as well in interactions. Sometimes like there's just no place for them, like it doesn't make sense, or something else is going on where it's just that doesn't really seem very plausible without slowing things down. But I think there is a lot of room for players to lift each other up in that way and give them an opportunity to do stuff.
Can you give an example where an interaction could have been done better in that respect?
I think maybe like just even when like the party members just talk to each other, right? Check in, hey Maple, you haven't been saying much. You're right, that sort of thing. Just like any sort of interaction would be good, which I think would be better than them not saying anything and not having a lot of impact on the session and or the campaign as a whole, because they're a bit more shy than the others.
Yeah. That's personal preference, right? Like some people just don't mind not talking. They just enjoy doing it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people obviously want to say something, but they just don't have the space to. And I think it's great that if characters can facilitate an atmosphere that provides for that, then that's great. Like I think a good example would be when Snow and Tokul were talking to the Matron Mother that one time, last session, where Tokul really didn't say anything at all, right? Like he had zero impact in that encounter. And I don't know, maybe Snow could have said something like, hey, you say something too, or just something along those lines just to get him involved. And I think we kind of did that, but Tokul was just like, you know what, I don't know, well, we'll let Snow handle it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think he specifically said, I didn't want to say anything that would wreck the situation or something like that.
Yeah.
But that is an opportunity for Snow to let Tokul
Snowcool.
into
Cute couple.
the conversation.
That's cute. Oh, I want to say that I enjoyed the return of the gritty Snow voice. That was great.
Yes, I made an effort to bring that back. I took in the feedback.
Did anyone else notice that? Did you notice that, Aiden?
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah.
I also noticed AK's
AK.
little accent as well. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good.
I have to put him on the spot with some roleplay to get it out of him a bit more. I think I want to hear it a bit more.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the big leaps, right? Like when you're a new player, like putting on like the dumb voice in front of other people. And I think he executed it really well. I actually actually really enjoy the accent. It's not entirely immersion breaking or anything, and it's great. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with that. Yeah.
Adds a lot of character without actually adding any lore or anything like that.
Yeah, and it's easier for me as a DM to be like, is that AK talking or is that Kenji talking? And now it's so much easier to distinguish between the two. And it's great. I don't know. I think it's good. Yeah. Kevin, do you have any suggestions to make the campaign better? Or criticisms or anything of the sort? Any bombs you want to drop?
I do have a tiny bomb.
All right.
Little IED.
Wow. Okay.
You've
IEDs,
regressed. You've regressed a little bit on the.
Oh, okay. I know.
I've been hearing it a bit more.
You heard it twice. You heard it twice.
No, I heard it a few times, but it wasn't enough for me to like for it to detract my attention from what was going on. But I did notice it a bit more than
Look, it's gonna go up and down.
Session.
Hey Albert. I didn't notice it at all. So
Yeah.
keep being you,
Oh.
buddy.
Yeah, don't listen
You
to
keep
him.
being-
No, don't. You don't listen to him. You don't
One's a
listen.
bomb, not a
You
bomb.
only
When it's
listen to me.
fake and it doesn't mean anything. That's not a criticism.
All right.
Yeah.
You only listen to me. Yeah, you only listen to me. Alright? That's my complaint. Okay,
I
this is
think
my
your
personal
opinion
complaint.
It kinda sucks.
No. My opinion is right. His is wrong. His is wrong.
Honestly, yeah. I think after I stopped caring about it, it just went away. I think now it's just a you problem you have to deal with if no one else cares about it. Like,
Okay.
I like afterwards, like especially when Lewis said that pointing out the problem made it even worse. Like every time,
that
stopping myself.
definitely made it worse.
And I was just like, oh, okay.
But then afterwards, you were really good. You were really good, and I appreciated
just
you
not notice it
going
for a while?
through doing that just for me. Even if it's just for me, I appreciate it a lot.
Wow. Catering to one player in the party. Bias. Yeah, I don't know. I think I stopped caring about it. I think it'll either go away with time or it'll just come back up. I mean, like 2 or 3 times a session. And I don't know. I honestly, I take back what I said. I think saying kind of is fine as a descriptive term because it's just kind of. Sometimes things are just kind of X, kind of Y, you know? And fuck you for thinking otherwise. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway.
think
Well, that's fine.
not
I mean, I'm clearly in the minority in here. I don't really have any platform to say, but I just thought that was a concern of mine. I'd bring it up, and I'm glad that you did try, even though it might not go away. That's fine. That's fine by me.
I think if it was like every sentence, that would get a bit frustrating or a bit immersion breaking in that respect. Like if someone, the people that just say like all the time, like like this,
Yeah.
like that would get annoying. But it's not that. Like you don't have descriptions where you're saying it's kind of this, it's kind of that, it's kind of this, it's kind of that. It doesn't break the immersion. I don't hear it enough to notice it. For me, anyway.
Yeah, but for Kevin, it's just like a fucking dog whistle.
I
or something
wish.
else.
I wish I wish I didn't notice it. Honestly, I would be totally fine if I didn't notice it at all. But I do, and I can't help that.
Every time I say it, it's like this little explosion in his head.
Yeah. Little IED in his head.
Yeah, the little drop bomb every now and then. Okay. Is there any other kind of tick that ticks you off? Anything else, Kevin? Or is that it?
No, I feel like you're making fun of me now because I
I'm
brought
definitely,
that
I'm definitely making fun of you now.
And that's what you gotta do to get him fired up in game. You gotta drop a couple kind of to get Snow inherently fired up.
Up the engagement. Okay, I mean, if there's nothing else, obviously there's the stuff I want to improve on myself and whatnot, but It's obviously far from perfect in my head. But, I think currently it's sort of smooth sailing, right? We're good for now. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just looking forward to where the end of this arc leads and where the campaign goes after that.
Pacing-wise, is it going too slow at the moment, do you think?
Yes, I think I said before, I feel like the narrative could be going a little bit faster. I just wish that we were progressing a bit more each session. I just feel like it's going a bit slow right now.
I'm worried that we're gonna miss the house with the green roof that has all the loot in it. That's what I'm worried.
I'm glad someone remembers that. You know what? You know what I'm not glad about? I'm not glad about that people don't remember the Sphinx riddle that left you with, and no one's really thinking about that. So maybe I'm going to bring that up next session.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember that riddle.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I'll bring it up again. Maybe you guys will be like, oh. But who knows? I don't know. I don't feel, personally, that big of a problem with the pacing in general. Like, if it's slow, but that's just kind of D&D, right? Where things are slow. Things take a long time, and I don't think there's necessarily a reason to rush that, other than the fact that people just want more, like, juicier content or whatnot. I guess that's reasonable. I don't know. Aiden, do you think I'm crazy, or do you think Kevin's right?
I think we're going okay at the moment. I think we're progressing through Dawnhelm nicely. Like, obviously last session there wasn't a lot that went on because it was just combat, and that's normal, but I think we're progressing through there fairly nicely. Like, if you think about how many sessions we've been down there, what did we do? We got down there, we had that first encounter with the Gith, and then we met Kenji and everyone there, had that small encounter, and then we've just gone through the caves, and we've had the Mycenids. Like, I think it's progressing okay where we are at the moment.
So how many more sessions do you think it should take to wrap up at least Dawnhelm?
Ooh, I don't know. What do we have left to do there? Do we have to go and encounter the Gith, or is that?
I'm not really sure yet, right? Because you activated the switch that pulled down the thing and moved the giant statue, who is now is hoisting this giant chain that's pulling the gate, and the other giant statue hasn't moved yet. So you guys are like, oh, maybe the dwarves didn't complete their goal. Maybe the Gith stopped them.
Yeah, but that was their goal. They were heading to the Gith, right?
Yeah.
It was like a split interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So would you guys? Sorry, go. No, go.
I'm just thinking, because if they're successful, then I'd expect probably be through Dawnhelm, like 5-6 sessions ish, like to center of Dawnhelm.
Okay. And that would be like good pacing for you. I'd be like, yeah, that's it. We're wrapped up.
That's kind of what I'm expecting. Yeah.
Okay. Kevin, do you agree? Another 5 sessions, another 6 sessions.
Is that a prediction, or is that how I would prefer it to go?
Well, what would you prefer?
What would I prefer it to go? I don't know. I don't know about the length. I just feel like if we had enough progress per session, I'd be fine with that. Like, if I feel like the narrative was moving along within the session itself, I think that's more my issue rather than the actual length, like the overall length of how many sessions it is. Okay. So I don't really have like a preference on like how long it should go, how many sessions it should go for, just as long as that it's moving.
It feels like it's moving, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's just the general atmosphere, the general kind of sessions you're gonna get in the Underdark, right? Because obviously there's gonna be combat, or at least more combat than usual, purely because there's much more enemies down here and stuff like that. And I guess that's what's slowing it down. But yeah, there's obviously going to be sessions where it's just combat, and it's nothing really happens narrative wise, and that's just something we have to deal with. Yeah, I mean, last session was kind of short as well, right?
Yeah, we finished pretty early. Yeah,
so there was obviously room for more narrative stuff there. I personally just wasn't feeling up to it, obviously, but Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other things you guys need to get off your chest? Any other bombs you need to drop?
I'm pretty good.
I'm okay.
Oh, is this the end of this one? Is there any other spicy things we want to talk about?
I don't think so. I'm pretty good, yeah.
Oh.
Like I said, I generally voice anything on the day.
Kevin.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm okay.
All right.
We can call it in.
Oh, come
All
on
right.
here.
This has
All
been
right.
episode 29. 29.
Is it 29? Are you sure?
I'm gonna go with 29
I think
for the Vikings podcast.
you're right. I think you're right.
I think we'd know when it's 30, right? Next time it's 30, right? I think we'd know. We wouldn't forget 30, right? Would we?
We'd definitely forget 30. I think we forgot 20. So, you know, it could happen. Anyway, it's Far Kingdoms. Thank you,
Thanks
Aiden, for
joining
coming
us. Yes.
No worries. Happy to be here again.
on. And we'll call it there. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.